Hey loves, it's Brit, and in this video I'm talking about Mars square to Uranus in Synastry. So this is an interesting, exciting aspect. On the one hand, there's a lot of attraction, there's a lot of stimulating energy, and even like a fascination with each other, but it's an attraction based on our differences. So we get this sense that we're meeting with someone who is from a totally different background or has some different beliefs or just a very different energy and how they go about their life. And we feel attracted to them because it's exciting and it's different and it's new, and it can even feel a bit exhilarating. It's like, whoa, what's going on with them? I don't even know. It's like they're speaking a different language, but maybe I want to learn it. Now, that's what it can feel like at the beginning. Now, this is a more difficult aspect to see in a long term relationship. In a friendship or a more casual relationship, it can be better. But as far as living together in the day to day, that's where this one can be kind of difficult, because when we have Mars, which is like our most direct masculine energy, whether we're male or female, it's our masculine energy, it's our fighting energy, and where we really don't back down, right? Meeting up in a square, which is the aspect of tension, where it's like this constant buzzing, exciting but difficult tension, with Uranus, which is our rebelliousness, our, innovation, and also a very eccentric part of us that does not like to back down. So we have two energies that don't want to back down from a fight, from an argument, in any way whatsoever. We're just not going to submit or subvert our will to the other person. So, for some people, this can be okay. It's just like a relationship with a high level of tension, and you're kind of always squabbling, or you're, there's a lot of upheaval, and you're spicy with each other, right? You don't back down, you don't take no for an answer, and you're both like that with this aspect. Unless one of you has a stronger influence on the other with like plutonic aspects, or has just like a more dominant birth chart in general. But usually with this aspect, we'll see two very strong individuals who will not back down. And so that can be dangerous, because in relationships that are, more healthy or successful, there's like, even if there's not one person who's like stronger all the time, there is someone who at some points and sometimes will take the back seat to let the other person lead, to let the other person shine, right? And I'm over here because I don't want that light that's coming through my window in my face. That's why I'm like over here, you guys, if you're wondering. So with this relationship though, it's, yeah, neither wants to back down. So if we are fighting, which is likely with this aspect, it can just show that there's a lot of stubbornness. There's a lot of like digging your heels in, especially if this is in fixed signs. Immutable signs is just going to be more arguing, and maybe there's a easier resolving. But especially in fixed signs, there's just two very strong people who felt attracted at the beginning because of these differences. And now you hate each other for it. And it can show a lot of discord or tension in the home. And yeah, a lot of fighting can show up with this aspect. Now, if it's a relationship where you have more space and you're not living together, this is where it can keep or retain its exciting qualities with less of the difficulties. And, this is a very exciting relationship. Mars square Uranus, too. This is like a sexually activating, opening experience where, yeah, it's like you might get the opportunity with this one to go through a sexual awakening, to go through some different type of experience, at least sexually or physically, that allows you to awaken parts of yourself that you didn't know were there. So it actually can be good for the sexual aspect, and it can be very exciting, exhilarating, attractive. There's a lot of energy for that. It also is excellent for like workout partners or working on things in a very physical way. See, that's the problem with Mars square Uranus in Synastry, is just that it's such a high level of like uncontainable energy that without anything to direct it at, that's when you're going to see fighting and chaos. And even, some of the books will say that if you have this aspect in your synastry, you just need to be careful out there together. Like, be careful driving, right? Mars square Uranus, this is like a classic, like, accident prone energy, right? Mars Uranus in general. So, with Mars Uranus in a square, it is like you could find yourself being talked into something that's very dangerous or very reckless in some cases with this aspect. So, you really do want to look out for that. You can promote in each other danger, in a negative way, not in an attractive way. Don't get turned on thinking of that, you guys. It's dangerous. You need to be careful, okay? And yeah, that's my advice with this aspect, is just that it makes you very impulsive. It makes you very excitable. It can definitely bring up the negative qualities of the Mars person's Mars and anger and how they express that. It can just be so triggered. And then the obstinacy of the Uranus person's Uranus, like, they will not change their mind. They will not change their course of action. No matter how hard Mars is going to try to make them, they won't. And this is where it can get ugly. But the good thing about this aspect is Uranus isn't like Pluto, but you could have Pluto aspects also in the mix of this, right? And you usually would. But as far as this one aspect goes, when you have your blowouts and you have your fights, you don't hold any resentment later on. It's not like a long, like, bitter fight. It's just like a quick spaz and then you're good. But it's generally a lot of those, okay? So, yeah, it's definitely one that should have like a handle with care or caution label on it. It's probably more likely to occur in a long term relationship than like Venus or Moon square Uranus, because Moon and Venus are such a sensitive part of ourselves that the Uranus person is actually more hurtful to them. Mars and Uranus are pretty equally feisty, and it can show actually less hurt feelings because Mars isn't so phased by Uranus, but also Mars isn't going to submit or back down to Uranus, and vice versa. So it's hard to say, but it's almost like this aspect, it's more compatible maybe in a long-term sense for the right kind of people, the people like who are Aries or Aquarius, or Mars in Aries or Aquarius, or Uranus aspects, Mars conjunct Uranus in natal, or Venus conjunct Uranus in natal. They can handle this kind of feisty Uranus square, okay? But for some people who are more sensitive, this one is going to really irritate you. And it does need an outlet. It does need a handle with care or caution label on it. But it can be very fun. Sexually, it's awakening, it's exciting, it's exhilarating. And you can actually have more energy in this relationship than outside of it. Because you activate each other. You get each other going, sometimes for worse, right? But sometimes for better, because it is like when you have a square to Uranus in Synastry, it is like getting a lightning bolt or a shock, like an electrical shock to your Mars, and you can end up being quite productive with an aspect like this. So it's a high energy, volatile square. Watch out, but it can work out for the right people. It's definitely not going to be a boring relationship at all. So I'd love to know your experience of this aspect. If you've had it in your synastry, let me know. And thank you for the request, you guys. Keep those requests coming, and we'll talk soon. Okay, bye.